What's up guys, Chris here with another 4 Knights of the Apocalypse manga chapter review, and this is the last chapter for 2021. And for the year that the series has basically started, and we're about to go into the 1-year anniversary of this whole sequel, I have to say I've enjoyed every step of the way. I've had my little minor gripes and stuff like that, but overall this series has been really good, and this chapter is no different, save for it being more of a setup chapter for what's to come next year, but overall another enjoyable chapter and a pretty quick read, all things considered. But before I get into the actual video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help. We were so close to 1,000 subscribers, I can just taste it. We're just at the point me recording this video, like 12 subscribers away from reaching the big 1K, with this channel getting monetized and hopefully more reach to other members of the community. So if you haven't already, subscribe and share this video and let other people know about this channel if there's anything else you like in particular. But with all that said and done, let's get straight into the video. Now, as we all know, last chapter Percival and gang managed to take out one of the Dark Talismans in a very well choreographed and planned attack, as well as some luck with Nazianz ingesting the Horn of Keranos shavings, which made him invulnerable for a brief period of time and allowed him and the others to take a good and very powerful hit to take out this member of the Dark Talismans, which in all honesty ended the chapter in a pretty good way. It took 2 chapters, but they managed to take out 1 out of the 4, even though it was a bit exhausting for them. But anyways, chapter 44, The Lost Children, starts off right after this, as Percival is using his magic power to heal everyone up from the basically brutal beatdown they had against this Dark Talisman, as he dealt some pretty significant blows. And I like how Adani brings up something that I brought up in the last review about giving them the Keranos shavings so that they can make things easier. But Nazian states that it doesn't work that way. He can't administer a drug right away. He needs to examine it for side effects, and just like that he slumps over and he ends up feeling a lot weaker, as the side effect for ingesting the Keranos horn was essentially, well, intense fatigue shortly afterwards. So yeah, I like this whole thing with Percival asking Nazianz why didn't you just have him ingested. He's his guinea pig, isn't he? But I like how on in the background's like, what the hell is your relationship? And Nazianz, very embarrassed about this, states that it was just a figure of speech and he didn't really mean it that way. But Sin brings up an interesting point as he tells Percival to forget him and to explain what Percival is doing, as we see that the mini Percivals have lifted up the Dark Talisman that they supposedly finished off and left to plunge to his death. Sin is asking why Percival is helping the enemy, but Percival saying that it's not nice to kill. I know, and Sin's telling him not to be soft as they're aiming to take their lives, and that they won the fight because this guy underestimated them because they were children and just like they predicted. But if they leave them alive, everyone will pay dearly for it. And I like how Sin brings up the fact that, as asking Percival straight up if he thinks that he's going to give him a change of heart by showing pity on them. And even Percival's like, no, he doesn't think that, but he also doesn't want to kill no matter what. As Sin just scoffs at this, just wondering what's going on. But the Dark Talisman has a very distinct and angry look at him, staring right at Percival, as Sin just states, you better pray that next pursuers are as dumb as this guy. We then cut to Percival swinging through the trees, well, flying through the trees at top speed to keep everybody safe so they can get out of the forest. I like how they're both asking why they haven't done this at first, with Nazim stating that this is going to take up too much of Percival's own magic power and that they need to save it up as much as possible, as Percival's at this moment already slowing down. But if he slows down and stops, then they'll catch up to them. But then Percival notices something, as An also notices at the same time, that 2 magical forces are speeding towards them at immense speed, and it's right behind them. And that they must have, and we then get the banter between the knights, as one of them mentions the name of the Dark Talisman that was defeated. His name is Elgin, as everyone's wondering how they could have caught up to them making a beeline through the forest like this. It's as if they're flying, and they look back and they realize that they are on a flying horse. It's a flying horse. If this wasn't 7 Deadly Sins sequel and I didn't know what Arthur could do with his chaos powers or what other stuff happened in the 7 Deadly Sins world, I'd say this was getting a bit ridiculous. But in the world of 7 Deadly Sins, it'd be weird not for there to be some kind of flying horse that Arthur could create with his magical power. And I like that these 2 are heading straight towards them with a beeline to take them out. And I like how Sin just straight up says that it's another magical beast like Keranos made by Arthur. It's given to Arthur's knights with these beasts and magic magical gear so that they can be very incredibly strong and be competent in battle. And I like how Nozians brings up that Sin knows a lot. And I like how these knights basically talk down about their teammate, saying that they kind of felt that his bravado was the end of him, and that their leader Fittich warned them not to travel with them even if they're little kids. They then managed to catch up with them as the woman knight brings out a staff, stating that it is the staff of 4 elements, and then she then commands a windsickle attack to try and attack them. But Percival kicks up the speed right away and manages to evade these windsickles as they begin to hit the trees as he swerves around all the branches. But the knight's not done. She starts to create another attack using her staff, calling it Sand Wall, as Percival at the very last second creates a Percival bubble, keeping everyone safe as it bounces off the wall. They then bounce off the wall and continue to bounce off branch by branch until they reach the ground as the Percival bubble bursts, with Percival essentially being out of magic for the time being. And I like how everyone with Percival exhausted tries to tell him to take it easy and let them handle the fight from there, but Percival takes responsibility, stating that he caught them up on this and that it's something that he has to do, as he stands up getting ready to face the knights as they appear right before him, stating that they'll take all their heads as the chapter ends. Now, in all honesty, this was a fairly short chapter, and in all honesty, I'm pretty okay with it. This was just one big setup chapter in order to get things ready for next year, and I'm okay with this being the last chapter of the year, and I set up for a future arc. There's not too much to dissect with this one particular arc. I'm just glad that it established why they're not going to use the Cerados horn to boost everyone's durability. It's highly possible that Nozians could give it to others if they want to do it, since they're going to face 2 of these knights at once, but it's still not going to be enough, as the leader is still somewhere around, and he was fast enough to react to what happened to one of their members and slice them up without hesitation in the blink of an eye. Plus, we also don't know what these knights' full capabilities are, as the female knight used a staff, seemingly that she is a mage, and created a ton of elemental attacks, so it's highly likely that she is just the mage of the group. But this huge guy, he looks like a type of barbarian, so he must have a lot more brute force type tactics compared to the other knights, and he is a freaking giant in comparison. He's a giant of a man. He's not a giant, he's not part of the giant clan, but he is huge, so I'm curious to see how these next few fights are going to play out. But yeah, that was the chapter. What did you guys think about it? In all honesty, I feel like with how things are going to play out, Percival is either going to get his whole powers and manage to do something with these guys, but with how things have been set up, Percival drained a ton of his magic reserves, and the Cerados horn thing seems to be completely out of the question for the time being, so there's still a lot for us to consider of how they can make it out of this. Could Sin, I say this every freaking chapter, but could Sin release his form to fight these knights? But if it's temporary, they'll have to leave the leader for later, or will they find a way to escape the woods? But that's certainly not what this arc is seeming to set up. As if that was the case, then they probably would have had to be saved much earlier, but this is a type of trial by fire for the kids as they're fighting off against some very strong opponents, and it's very likely that they will have to pull out all the stops to just get out of there by the very skin of their teeth. And from how the first fight went, the only reason they won was because that knight underestimated, and these ones are actively trying to take them out as quickly as possible, while also being cautious of their abilities and playing smart. So I'm not entirely sure how this whole fight's going to play out. I feel like they could just barely manage to beat these two. I mean, it's going to be 2-on-4, and they barely managed to beat one of these guys. But once the leader comes in, someone's going to have to show up. Whether it be someone like Hauser coming to catch up with them from Cant, or it could be another one of the Sins coming to their rescue, like Bon, King, Deanne, or hell, even Meliodas himself, or Sin, if he's actually Bon in disguise, or if he's Lancelot, and Lancelot's just a lot stronger than Percival. But yeah, that's really all my thoughts and opinions on this chapter. Relatively short, not too much happened. Very quick chapter, was just Percival trying to get them out of there as quickly as possible and doesn't want to kill. So that's very nice. That's a very nice character trait for Percival, as he's a pretty pure guy, but he also understands that he can't just turn someone over good by showing pity to them or showing them kindness. He's not that naive anymore. He's still pretty naive, but he's not that naive to the point where he won't kill someone and expect them to just come back and help them. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about this chapter. What do you guys think? Thoughts and opinions down below. And since this is pretty much the last Four Knights video of the year, leave in the comments down below not only your theories on what could happen with this fight and what could happen next, but also what was your favorite chapter or moment for the Four Knights of the Apocalypse this year. From its opening year, what was your favorite moment, favorite chapter, etc., as well as your favorite character. Leave all that stuff down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. I really hope that we start the new year off with a little over 1,000 subscribers, as we're very close to that right now. But with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have an awesome day.